I used to be a professional wrestler, so I understand professional wrestling very well. Logan Paul is a very new in the professional wrestling space. And Tom Brady is one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. So let's see the exchange.
So
I am the highest level. I am the level.
no, you're not the level.
I am the level.
You're a good athlete, but honestly, when I'm
great
thinking of Saquon Barkley, and I'm thinking of like
bro, can Saquon
Odell
Barkley
Beckham
do
and Justin
a
Jefferson,
flip off the top rope?
Have you
a
not
180
seen him
moonsault
jump
off the top
over
rope
someone's
onto
head on
LA
the
it's
Knight?
cute. It's a great, I love WWE. It's very cute.
Same.
But honestly, this is like real football. This is real competition.
I was an all-state linebacker. I rushed for 1,200 yards, 19 touchdowns my senior year.
Well, let's see what you can still bring it. I mean, look, we all had a great pass. I won 7 Super Bowl. Who don't give a shit? You know what matters? This game, March 21st in Saudi.
Yeah. I won 7 Super Bowls. Who gives a shit?
I'm glad you're going to be there, and I'm glad you're finally going to participate in like a competition that
This
matters.
guy's insane. The audacity of Tom Brady. I can't believe it. Wins 7 Super Bowls, thinks he can just go around and talk about his flag football game like it's going to be the Pro Bowl.
It's going to be way better than that.
Wait, I think I'm on your team, bro.
Really?
You said
well,
that.
Then I'm going to feed you.
That was a good exchange. Okay. Then, because of that, the wrestling world and the football world kind of went a little bit nuts. There's one thing, though, you have to understand that I think is very important. Everything that comes out of professional wrestling or WWE or a wrestler's mouth when they're on camera is all part of the game. It's all part of the game. Logan Paul, when he does a podcast, especially like that on the red carpet live with Tom Brady, is in his element, is in his character. He is the maverick Logan Paul. And that's what you have to understand about these types of things. That is for the clicks, for the attention. And then the debate actually happens about who's a better athlete, NFL football players or WWE superstars. And it's almost obvious that it is NFL players. And so this guy tweeted out, no NFL player can even think of pulling this off. Logan Paul is 100 times better athlete than any NFL player. I mean, that's an absurd statement. 100 times better than any NFL player ever. But let's watch this video. That was pretty sick. Let's watch. Yeah, pretty cool. Yeah. So what else we got going on here? All right. This one I think is important to talk about. Moose, who is currently a professional wrestler and played in the NFL. So obviously he understands both extremely well. And he says, bro, I've done both. And I was an offensive lineman. And respectfully, I don't think Logan Paul was more athletic than me. So imagine comparing him to an actual skill position in the NFL. Not even close. When I think of the NFL, I think of like a linebacker, right? I think of like a linebacker who's like 250 pounds, can bench 225 pounds like 30 times, can run a 4.5, 4.4 40, like is just a freak athlete. Is fast enough to handle the wide receivers, is fast enough to run down a running back, is strong enough to handle a tight end. Just an absolute freak of an athlete is what a linebacker is. And so the thing you have to think about with this debate is, again, Logan Paul and Tom Brady were in a deal. They were just talking shit to each other. That's the whole point, is for clicks, for viral, for this conversation to happen, to them to build up to their, flag football match in Saudi Arabia. They're not actually going to wrestle at WrestleMania. The rumor is that Logan Paul is actually going to wrestle Bad Bunny at WrestleMania. That's the rumor. That's the vibe. That's what we're going off of. But they're just creating content right here. They're creating clicks. They want people like me to speak about it. They want someone like Moose to comment on it, right? And so you have that. But the thing is, can you take a random WWE superstar and put them in the NFL? How would they succeed? Pretty badly. I know some pretty bad wrestlers athletically who can still get it done in the ring, who are like really good in the ring. Because the thing about professional wrestling is you can hide whatever sort of inabilities you have. If you can't really jump or flip, you're never going to do that, but you can do other things really well. And so people assume that athleticism. Like you have this new guy named Javon Evans. Yes, he's very flippy and jumpy and springy. Can he go play in the NFL? I don't think so. But if you took a random NFL guy, could you train him to be a WWE superstar? Yes, you could. So that takes a different type of athleticism to be in a professional sport. And then you think of like a different sport like baseball. And you could take no athlete from anywhere, WWE, doesn't matter, entertainment, real, doesn't matter, and you drop them into baseball. None of them are going to be able to hit a baseball. So hitting a baseball is the hardest thing to do in professional sports. And so that's very interesting to look at too. But NFL is a very athletic driven sport. You have to have speed, agility, quickness, strength. All of those things do apply into the WWE and becoming a WWE superstar, hence why WWE recruited from the football and college scene for a very long time. WWE is more so not going after independent wrestlers, which I think is pretty cool in that regard. But you couldn't just drop a random WWE superstar in the NFL and expect them to play. They would get crushed and demolished. Logan Paul may think he's athletic, but most of the skills that you do in WWE are learned. You can learn how to do a springboard moonsault. Now, of course, you have to have the jumping ability, but there are some mechanisms you can learn to help you get up that high. You use the ropes, you use the spring, you can use 1 foot up, kind of like Io Sky does to do her springboard, right? So there's mechanisms that you can use inside the ring to sort of alleviate the need for peak athleticism, right? If you can hit him at the right moment or do the insecurity or do the drop kick or do the moonsault. I mean, I've seen a ton of guys who look like they couldn't fucking run and walk or chew gum and walk at the same time, but they could be and seem athletic in the ring. So you have to understand that WWE is a show, it's entertainment. You can show the fans exactly what you want them to see, and it can seem super athletic. Now, I think some of today's professional wrestlers do too much, and they sort of give away the vibes of it being like this real legit fight that you're supposed to be portraying, right? So they do too much springy, jumpy bullshit, and it makes it look all choreographed and pretend. That's where Logan Paul needs a bit more experience, and where I think him and Bad Bunny, if they do have a match at WrestleMania, are going to clash because neither of them have that sort of ring general presence and ring general awareness to be able to carry one another in a match. And again, you can hide any sort of athleticism you don't have in WWE. If you don't have peak athleticism as an NFL football player in certain regards, in terms of like lateral speed, quickness, sprint speed, vertical jump, you're just not going to make it in the NFL. But you don't have to be a peak athlete to be in the WWE. There's tons of guys who can't fucking do anything athletically outside of wrestle, but they could do WWE. So let's move on. I don't think I've ever met a wrestler that isn't completely delusional, just insane. Now, from Cody Decker, this is just a dumb take, simply because he doesn't know ball about professional wrestling. He doesn't know ball because what that means is that he's been sort of trapped by the aura and the mystique of professional wrestling. Every professional wrestler you see is playing a character when they're on screen or on camera. That's what they're taught to do. That's their vibe. So they're either being delusional, overconfident, egomaniac, talking about themselves. And Logan Paul did that way before he even got into WWE. And so now he's simply doing that here in WWE on his podcast with all of this stuff. And it says, what does it say? Tom Brady cooks Logan Paul, calling that his athleticism cute compared to NFL players. I mean, that is somewhat true. It is cute. But it's also not delusional, Cody Decker. It's part of the vibe that comes with being a WWE superstar is that you're supposed to be delusional. That's the idea. We're putting on a pretend show for people to be entertained about. And so they don't have anything to talk about. They're not going to come to the show. So let's continue. No, don't need that. All right. Then Logan Paul put this out right after it happened. So let's see. Let's watch it.
You're a good athlete, but honestly, when I'm thinking of Saquon Barkley, I love WWE. It's very cute, but honestly, this is like real football.
Safe to say I'm the biggest, the largest. Been stepping up since my mama stayed in them apartments. Regardless, my daddy told me keep the heat even when I'm in foreigns. I'm heartless, cause these niggas is hating on me just because I'm the biggest.
You're a good athlete, but honestly, when I'm thinking.
By the way, I mean, I used to be a professional wrestler, so I fucking love WWE. And I think Logan Paul's got good talent. He's not where he needs to be yet in terms of his ring presence, his execution, his ability to call stuff on the fly, his ability to improvise. But he can sort of go spot to spot, move to move when called for. I mean, his most recent match with John Cena and John Cena's farewell tour in 2025 was pretty good. But again, professional wrestling, the great matches are really about what's in between the cells, the instances where you're, portraying a fight, everything that happens in between the moves, how you portray your body language, your facial expressions, what you do with yourself, how you get to the next move, the pin, the way your body moves, your awareness, your execution, your delivery, all of those things matter in terms of building a great match. And right now, and especially with brand new young wrestlers, I mean, Logan Paul, I think, has only been doing it 4 or 5 years. They rush a little bit and they go from move to move to move to move to move. That's why you want to be in there with someone who understands match structure, timing, and pacing. And then when you have enough matches under your belt, you just sort of feel that. You understand it really well. That's why John Cena was so good, and Roman Reigns and CM Punk and all these guys like that, even though I hate CM Punk and he's a fraud. But you understand my point. And so, again, that's the issue. Then if you put two guys in there who are inexperienced in that regard, in Bad Bunny and Logan Paul, you really have to plan that match out well. So if there's hiccups, one or the other guy knows where to go to next and how to bring that match back into its proper direction. So again, Logan Paul, yes, great athlete. Could he play in the NFL? No, he couldn't. Good boxer too. Already saw that. Already looked at that. Already looked at that. All right, so there's another guy that I think we should listen to is AJ Francis. He also played in the NFL, and he's also now a professional wrestler. So again, understands both with ease, totally understands it. And here's what he said. Logan Paul is bigger, stronger, faster, and more athletic than Tom Brady. Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time, in spite his own admitted athletic shortcomings. Logan Paul could never play in the NFL. Logan Paul could never play in the NFL. And if he has a problem with me saying that as an NFL player turned wrestler, I can become an NFL player turned wrestler turned celebrity boxer and prove it to him. Hope that settles that. That's the important part. Logan Paul could never play in the NFL. I already made that point earlier, right? Most NFL players could transfer to WWE and learn the skills, learn the basics, learn how to bump, learn how to do all these types of things. But very few WWE or professional wrestlers could then transfer into the NFL. We saw Brock Lesnar try to do it, but Brock Lesnar is also an absolute freak nature, one of the best combat sport athletes of all time. So I think that really settles the debate. But again, let's stop sharing. We don't need that anymore. But once you start to realize what WWE is and what the wrestlers who are on WWE are doing, you'll understand that's why Logan Paul fits fucking perfectly in WWE, because everything that he's been doing since very young is to curate content, curate clips, and curate viral moments. That's exactly why he did that.